Hello and welcome to another episode of the Herbalicious Alchemy podcast. Excited to be here with you today. Hi, Sally Ann. Lovely to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Susie. I'm looking forward to it too.
Absolutely. So, we have another amazing message to share with you, an oil, and some more tips and affirmations for this wonderful energy that we're in. As we record this, it is full moon tomorrow. So, we have that beautiful energy, which is going to weave through what we're talking about today. So, the energy that I felt as I went into the Akashic Records was very much about returning to ourselves. So, in the previous episode, we talked about liberation and we've talked about stillness. And today, I'm really feeling we need to come back to ourselves. So, we may lose parts and pieces of ourselves through different things that happen, right? So, trauma, we leave parts and pieces of ourselves behind. If we're in survival mode, we're kind of missing parts and pieces of ourselves. We also leave parts and pieces of ourselves with people, events, situations, and all of those different things. So today's energy is about returning to yourself, like returning to wholeness, returning to your soul to help you to move forwards, right? So I thought it might be quite nice to give some signs of disconnection, which may be overwhelm or feeling like you don't really belong, like you feel something is missing. You feel disassociated from your body. You may feel you're in emotional chaos, or maybe even there's grief and shame and guilt that is coming up. Um, and I think probably the biggest one that people may resonate with is not knowing what you want, right? That's quite a big one, or not knowing what you need, or not knowing what you feel, right? So you've kind of lost a bit of your identity. So it's really important that we return ourselves to us to ourselves, right? We bring those parts and pieces of our soul that are scattered across lifetimes and timelines in order to feel whole again, right? And that's really what we're talking about is being able to return to ourselves to feel whole again. So within the Akashic records, I would talk about this as a fragmented soul. So wouldn't it be fun if the fragmented soul card came up today? Um, so I'm just going to grab the card out while I'm talking because it will show you exactly what I'm talking about as I flick through these. Like where we've left parts and pieces of ourselves, we may actually feel fragmented, right? And not whole. I can't find the card, so I'll keep looking through. Um, so, this is something that's really important in order to help us to move forwards. And on my YouTube channel, I do have a free fragmented soul activation or meditation to start to help bring back those pieces of your fragmented soul. So, Sally Ann, what oil would be really helpful for us to look? Last card.
Ah,
Last card. So that's kind of how your soul looks and feels, right? It feels split, it feels fragmented. Okay. So, Sally Ann, what oil would you suggest that we can
mhm.
use so that we can start to feel more whole and feel perhaps even our own presence in our own bodies?
Yes. So there's lots of oils that I could have chosen. There's so many oils can help us do that, but there's one, Susie, that really stands out to me, and that is patchouli. And
Mm.
most people think they've heard about patchouli, but most people think it's a flower, but it's actually distilled from the leaves of the
Okay.
plant. And it's an absolutely fantastic oil. It's actually known as the oil of physicality, which is what we want. And it's also known as the oil of sacred embodiment. Again, what we need. So there are lots of spiritual benefits, which I'm sure you will cover. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the exciting side of patchouli from a physicality, from a physical point of view.
Hmm.
So I've got my little book here that I absolutely love, and it is Modern Essentials. And it has a really good section on it. And I'm going to just read out the properties. The properties of this oil: anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antiseptic, antitoxic, astringent, decongestant, deodorant, diuretic, insecticidal, and it's a stimulant for digestive, and a tonic. And I always think anything to do with physical digestion also works on emotional digestion, spiritual digestion, processing, thinking, clearing. It's absolutely incredible oil. And from an emotional point of view, it says patchouli supports individuals in becoming fully present in their physical body. It
Yeah.
balances those who feel devitalized and who seek to escape the body through spiritual pursuits or other forms of distraction. It says patchouli helps individuals appreciate the magnificence of the physical body and all of its natural processes and functions, and it assists in releasing emotional judgments related to the body. And the book that I'm reading from is Essential Emotions, another fabulous book. So tell us more about the spiritual side, Susie.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really helps to ground the soul back into the body. So especially if you've been through something like trauma, spiritual disconnection, or periods of overextending yourself, right? We want to bring ourselves back, right? It encourages root chakra balance. So this is one that you can use with your root chakra, which is very much about safety, presence, and security, right? A lot of what goes on in humans is the lack of feeling safe, right? The lack of feeling protected. So this is a great one for all of those kind of energies because it really does ground us into safety by working with our root chakra and security in this now moment, right? And now is all that we have, right? The past has been, the future's yet to come. Now is what is important without going into multiple timelines and all of those things. So being secure in the now and dealing with things in the now is really important. Like a lot of us tend to worry about what's going to happen in the future. Like what's going to happen tomorrow? If I don't do this, what are the consequences tomorrow? We want to be so much in the now, and that's really, really going to help. It also helps with embodiment practices, and embodiment is something that I talk about quite a lot.
You're very passionate about it, Susie.
I'm very passionate about embodiment because embodiment really is talking about taking the action on the information or the healing or the reading or whatever it is that you have. So it's about embodying information, wisdom, all of those things, and taking action on it. That's so, so important. So, funnily enough, that came up in my reading this week. So, you can find that on my YouTube channel as well. So it supports that healing. It supports embodying whatever action and practice you're going to take to help move you forwards. It's particularly connected with shame and fear of visibility as well, which again is what I spoke about on this week's reading. Because a lot of us spiritual beings are afraid to be visible because we have been tortured, persecuted, exiled, had our power taken away, had our voice taken away. So this works really, really well with the fear of visibility. But it also helps you to like feel worthy of being here, right? And taking up space and being seen. You know, some of us feel maybe that, you know, we're not worthy, we don't know why we're here. You know, what's the point? All of those kind of energies. Patchouli is going to help you with that because you are here for a reason, you are here for a purpose, you have a mission, a soul blueprint. But when we're disconnected, we can feel that we're not, um, we're just taking up space. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that I can't stop smelling it actually. I feel like patchouli is one of those oils that I've neglected. I've always had it. I use it occasionally. It's on the shelf, but
Mm.
and I usually tend to put it into blends. But at the moment, Susie, I think I'm going to wear this as perfume for the next week. Patchouli is going to bring us back into our body. It's going to bring us back into the presence,
Mhm.
into the present moment.
Truly really helps integrate the healing that we're doing because it helps integrate it into our root chakra. Fantastic in helping us to pull back parts and pieces of ourselves so that we can return back to ourselves.
Amazing. I love that.
So, as we are pulling ourselves back to, or returning ourselves, not pulling, as we're returning ourselves back to wholeness, there are going to be things that need to be released. So, working with the full moon energy is going to be really, really powerful. So, releasing perhaps even those limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves that we can't be whole, that we're not good enough, that, we're taking up space, that we don't deserve, right? Don't deserving comes up quite a lot, that we don't deserve perhaps even to be here. So use the full moon energy to clear any beliefs, habits, programming, conditioning, but trauma as well, right? Full moon is very good for releasing the trauma and then using patchouli to help call back all of those parts and pieces to yourself. When we're healing and clearing and changing, there's always something that needs to be released in order to create space to bring something back in, right? So clearing the things that have been holding you as a scattered being, as it were, we need to clear that so that we can bring those parts and pieces back to ourselves.
Brilliant. I just felt the urge to start shuffling my deck, Susie. How are we gonna reflect on this?
Right,
What's
so
the right card for this?
I'm going to ask the question. So how can we return to ourselves? And we just see what comes up. So how can we return all parts and pieces of ourselves back to us? Okay, so we've got a couple of cards here. So we've got gratitude, which I think is a really, really nice card. Gratitude is so powerful. So thanking our soul for being whole, thanking our soul for the experiences that we've had, thanking the universe for the abundance and the knowledge and the wisdom that it provides us with. So putting a gratitude practice into place could be really, really powerful as we return ourselves back to wholeness. And the other card was balance and flow. Right. So balance and flow is really, really important. If we're constantly in a state of unbalance, then we're going to continue to leave parts and pieces of ourselves across lifetimes, timelines, people, events, situations. Right. So the more imbalance that we are, the less we're going to leave ourselves in those events, so or with those people. So finding balance is going to be really, really powerful, and patchouli is going to help you to be able to do that. Because as we talked about, the root chakra is so, so important. And having or being fully grounded with our root chakra so that we're feeling safe, so that we're feeling secure, so that we're feeling in the now energy, we can start to see how we can balance and bring more balance into our day-to-day lives. And that's going to allow us to not lose any more parts and pieces of ourselves, but be able to start calling them back. What did you get, Sally Ann?
Well, the first card that flung itself out the deck, I felt disappointed because I was like, how's that going to help? And as soon as I asked the question, how's that going to help? A second card flung itself out the deck. So maybe you can help explain the first one. First one is lack and scarcity.
Yep. Yeah. So lack and scarcity is that energy where we're in, where things feel scarce, like there's not enough money, there's not enough time, there's not enough appreciation, there's not enough of anything. So that puts us into scarcity and lack. So if we're feeling that, we're overwhelmed, that we're disappointed with life and all of those energies, we're in lack.
Right. And is that's making us feel scattered because we're thinking of lots of different things and
Yeah,
not okay. So when I got this out, I really felt disappointed. I was like, that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
it
But
absolutely does.
clearly it does. So
Yeah,
that's why we have you as the expert on these cards. And then I asked the question, how's that going to help? And you
yeah.
won't believe the card that jumped out, soul alignment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we're in an energy of lack and scarcity, we are not in alignment with our soul. So that the more that we align with our purpose, our mission, why we're here, the lessons we need to learn, the contracts that we make to meet the right people on our path, the more that we can align with abundance, the more we can start to use gratitude to
Mhm.
bring all of those things in for ourselves. So the soul alignment card is really asking you to bring yourself back into alignment, to return yourself, right? To return those soul fragments to yourself to help align your soul, right? At the moment, with scattered soul fragments, with parts and pieces of you across lifetimes, timelines, people, events, and all of those things, it's impossible to become in alignment because you're not whole, right? So, as you work to bring your soul into alignment, you're going to start to call back those parts or pieces to bring your soul back into wholeness to be fully aligned.
Amazing. Amazing. Do we need some affirmations, Susie?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So I think we're going to sit quietly, aren't we?
Yep.
Somewhere. We're going to ground ourselves. We're going to get our patchouli, have a nice breath, 2 or 3 breaths through the nose,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to say, I release the noise that does not belong to me.
Mm-hmm.
I return myself with each breath. We're going to be breathing. My soul speaks clearly when I am quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I honor my needs and I listen to my inner truth.
Yeah.
And I am grounded, present, and deeply connected to who I am.
Nice. Nice. Excellent. So, if you'd like to know any more about returning yourself to wholeness, then do go and check out the YouTube channel because there is a fragmented soul activation on there that will help you. That will be your first step. So, that's something that you can embody from this episode to help you to move forward. Do use the energy of the full moon. It's really powerful. It's the last full moon of this year. Can you believe? It is a super moon. So use that energy to clear the stuff that you don't want to carry forward, especially the stuff you don't want to carry forwards into a new year.
Absolutely. And do visit Susie's doTERRA shop or contact Susie or myself, and we will get you some really good quality patchouli and any
Yes.
other oil that you want into your hands. And then you'll become one of our team members and we'll look after you. And
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, we'd love to invite you to be a part of our doTERRA team. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment or ask us. We're here to help support you. Do please like, follow, and subscribe so that you get notified when new episodes drop. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Sally Ann. Another amazing episode, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Ciao for now.
ciao for now.